Everybody wants clients, and not a lot of people know how to get them. And that's why in today's session, we have Janette Anderson, and she'll talk to you about the number one secret to attract ideal clients for your business. Now, Janette Anderson is a business development expert with over 40 years of strategic planning, sales, and marketing experience. Now, the first question I have is, what's the secret to your success? And does learning how to create the right list and to attract the right clients for your business have anything to do with that? Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu, mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services.
Well, yes and no. So I would say the number one secret to my success, and by the way, hi, Lily, and thanks for having me. So the number one secret is actually perseverance, and I would call it passion, but really I call it my why. Having a clear why you do what you do, purpose, whatever you want to call that, is integral to be able to stay the course, to stay committed, to stay passionate, to really want to serve, to really want to make a difference. If you're not clear on your why you do what you do, it becomes a grind, it becomes a drudgery. And so it's super important to know really the three whys and a what. Why do you do what you do? Why should people work with you? Why do they need what you have? And what the heck do you sell, and how do you position it, price it, etc.? And how do you get clients? So the number one thing that makes me successful and has kept me stupidly in love with what I do for 40 years is that I love seeing entrepreneurs being the difference that only they can be in the world. That lights me up. That gets me going in the morning. And especially maturepreneurs now, a big, huge new cohort of people coming into the marketplace, people who are 55 plus and hashtag not done by a long shot. So that's part one of your question. Part two is, the number one secret to be able to actually make sales, because you don't have a business if you're not selling, is to have a list of prospects and clients that you can nurture those relationships with. And I say relationships with air quotes because it's not what a lot of people think. And so building your list is super, super important. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Thank you. Tell us your top 5 biggest achievements, aside from your family and, your health and everything else. I'm talking business success, achievements that you're most proud of, and your journey to getting there.
And what was the last part?
And your journey to getting there.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, that's a really great question. And one of the first one I actually is going to sound a little perverse because it's probably also my biggest failure. It is when I was working for a corporation. Every once in a while I forget and get lulled back into, drawn back into the lure of benefits and stability and so forth. It takes about 2 years before I go, ooh, politics and bureaucracy and BS, oh my, and I leave and go start my business again. But with a large corporation, made the biggest sale in their history. $1.2 million with the second phase that was $1.4 million. Took me a year to put the deal together. Was the biggest sale they've ever seen. Was incredibly challenging to do. So I was very proud of that. And it led to the biggest challenge and failure, which was they didn't want to pay me the $120,000 of commission that they owed me. So they have a history of laying people off if they owe money and they're having a bad quarter. So they laid me off so they wouldn't have to pay me, and I would have to sue them to get that money. It led to an extremely difficult period because I had burned myself out working for this company. I literally had worked 47 days in a row without a day off. And so that led to a period of real challenge and rebuilding. What I'm proud of is A, the sale, B, the choice not to pursue the kind of retribution legal thing, because it would have kept me in an energy of being angry and mad and victimized and frustrated for at least 2 years while that was going on. And I did not want to stay in that energy. So I chose not to pursue it, even though I had a lawyer take it on contingency because it was so clear cut. And that I pulled myself out of that real period of challenge and depression and frustration, and rebuilt after that. So really, there was a bunch of successes in that challenge that made me a stronger, more resilient. So I'm proud of the deal. I'm proud of the recovery. I'm proud of the ability to be flexible enough to come back from what I consider to be a huge betrayal. So that was one. The successes that I would say probably after that, the other four would probably be client stories, because I'm really, really happy about various things that I've helped clients achieve. And I'll just tell you one of them. Someone who came to me who wanted more clients, and we worked on that. We got her more clients, coaching, business coaching, or mindset coaching coach. But really what ended up happening was she sold her house and everything she owned and started a mobile lifestyle, which was really her secret dream that she wouldn't allow herself. And I am polyhomorous, I call myself. I live a mobile lifestyle. And so that was for her a big accomplishment. So yeah, she got more clients, but she was happier and more aligned because she was living the life that she truly wanted. And so supporting her in that transition and creating the courage to do that was really, really lovely and juicy. And she's now so much more successful on every level. I would say I love and I'm very proud of the facilitation work I've done, which is half of my life is in personal development, facilitating personal growth courses, running masterminds, teaching, coaching, certification programs. I love when someone has that internal shift that allows them to be who they want to be more. So the being is more important to me than the doing and the having, because the being will lead to the doing and the having. So facilitating is my happy place on the planet when I'm doing deep personal transformational work. So I love when I bring that to the work that I do with my business clients, because we're whole human beings and our issues become the business's issues. And if we don't clear those up and deal with those, then the business struggles and suffers. So being able to do that and bring that intuition and those skills, those internal belief busting skills to the table, I'm very proud of that as well. And it's a unique combination. And I would say the first time I had a $10,000 day, and then the first time I had a $20,000 day, those were very fun too, because they're big breakthrough amounts and days. I love speaking and being at the front of the room. It's also one of my happy places because I love seeing light bulbs going off all over the place and people getting ahas and coming up afterwards and saying, I've never heard it that way, or I really love how you put that, or now I'm so committed to whatever it is. Those are some of the things that I'm really, really proud of and happy about.
Thank you. Tell us the number one secret entrepreneurs can leverage to attract ideal clients.
All right. Well, there's a lot of things you can do, but really, it's really very simple. You need to be of service. And when you're of service and you can stand out from the crowd, because let's face it, we're competing in a global market. Whatever you do, you are now competing with everyone else on the planet. And so you need to stand out. And one of the ways to build that know, like, trust factor is to use content-based or information-based marketing. Now, you've probably heard that a million times. Basically, it means educate your people, give them something of value so that they get some answers, but they also get to know you and your style, your approach. It is true that that's very valuable. And let's be honest, we're inundated with information these days, right? So there's no shortage of information. What we need to do is have the right information for exactly the problem that they're looking for a solution for in front of them at the right time. That's a little trickier. But when you do that, what it allows you to do is connect with people who are looking for that solution, which is only a small subset of the market, like about 3% of people are actively looking for a solution at any given time. So they're hot prospects. 2, it allows you to kind of continue that relationship, get them into your world, put them on your list so you can continue to communicate with them. 3, it allows them to get to know you a little bit more about your style, your approach, and see if it's a fit. 4, it gives them an opportunity to follow up with you because you have a call to action and whatever it is. So there's a next step that's possible. So it's one of the most practical, most effective, most cost-effective ways to build your influence, which means your ability to reach out and touch people. So I think it's the number one thing that people need to have in place in terms of their marketing is a really good lead magnet, it's called, or something that will get people on your email list so that you can continue to develop that relationship and connection.
Thank you. So tell us more about how this actually works in practice. So let's take an example type of business, perhaps one that you've already worked with before, to give us an example of how this works in terms of, okay, you have the lead magnet, and then what's important there, and then what's the next step in order to connect with these entrepreneurs and make sure that not only they download that particular PDF or ebook or I don't know, whatever it was that they came for, whether it's a webinar or something. And then that also leads onto them becoming paying customers and absolutely loving what you do, so that there is a demonstration of, yes, they are ideal clients and they're also absolutely loving what you do and they're signing up because they're craving for more.
Right. So there's an art and a science to all marketing and to all pieces, including this and the process, process if you're my American friends. I'm Canadian, I speak Canadian and American. So I would say that there's a couple of things. First, let's figure out what your audience actually needs, and which presumes that you know who your audience is. So really first, you want to figure out who you're talking to. All marketing is a conversation with one, all good marketing is a conversation with one person. Don't just spray and pray. Be specifically having a conversation, whether it's your website or a lead magnet or whatever, with one person, just like you would if you were sitting across from them, because then it's personal, then it's actually going to get into the hearts and minds of that person. And that person is representative of the types of people that you want to serve and that you can help the most. What most people do that they make a mistake with is that they solve the problem that is what they are selling. That's the wrong approach. You want to solve the problem before what you're selling. Because if you solve the problem of what you're selling, they have no need to follow up with you. They've already got that step. They don't need what you're selling. You need to back it up one step. What's the problem that they have before the problem you solve? So for example, I'll give you a couple of examples. There's something that I call a buying criteria lead magnet. That's when you're helping your prospect decide who to work with when they're hiring whatever it is you do. So I have an ebook, what's the title of it? How to Choose the Right Business Coach for You. 12 criteria for making the most important decision of your life or something like that. And it has criteria for them that they can then use to apply to every other business coach they're talking to. So I've now set the filter and the window that they're doing this assessment through. So I don't care if you're a plumber, if you're a massage therapist, if you sell widgets, the idea is that you want to be their ally in picking the best person to help them with that. So you're going to create a criteria for that. It might be a checklist, it might be an ebook, it might be, the top 10 mistakes that people or brides make when they're choosing their wedding photographer. It can be a variety of things. But what it does is helps them select a criteria, gives them something of value. And of course, you're going to fit that criteria. Now, you do want it to be objective. You do want it to actually make sense. But it's also going to be, let's face it, skewed towards you and your strengths. And so now it's very likely that they see you as an ally. They're going to just make sure to have an appointment with you at the very least, and perhaps only you. So you may have eliminated all the competition by telling them how to deal with the competition. That often happens. So that's a really important one to have. That's a practical one to have. A buying criteria lead magnet is a great one to have to give to prospects who are making that decision at that point. It establishes your credibility, your authority, and really shows them that you're helping them to be objective and supported in their decision-making process. So it aligns you with them. It puts you on the same side of the table as them. So that's an example of one. I've got other examples of things, but I want to come back to, in just a second, the step back from this problem you solve.
Thank you. So why is it important to have this kind of lead magnet that doesn't actually solve their problem, but it's like a precursor of their problem? And it kind of like just gives them an overview perspective of, for example, let's say I'm a book publisher and I help entrepreneurs to brand themselves through publishing a book and then getting speaking opportunities worldwide. And so instead of, let's say, doing a book that will tell them about how to write and publish your own book and become a superstar, instead of that, you would prefer that, let's say, I write a book or a PDF of some sort where I talk about, these are the various ways you can choose in order to publish your book and become a superstar. You can go for a traditional publisher, you could go for self-publishing, and you can go for Lily. And this is why Lily is the best choice. And this that would be like an example of how this would work. Why is this a better way to operate than to have just, this is how you publish your book and become a superstar?
Okay, so for example, that's a great example, Lily, is that there's people at various stages and various types of prospects in that journey. So if there's someone just thinking about a book, talking to them about how to publicize your book is too far down the road for them, right? So that's not going to appeal to them. They might pick it up, but they're not going to do anything with it. They don't have a book yet, right? So if your market is that you help them get seen and go on the road and become speakers and sell their books at the back of the room and get that out there, then that's very different than the people who help them with writing the book or the people who help them get it published. There's stages. So if, for example, you're someone who helps them get seen and heard and sell their books and learn how to speak to augment their book selling and so forth, then the step back from that might be how to find the right publisher for you. Or if you also publish, the step back from that is how to decide what to call your book, or how to decide what book to bring forward to the world, or how to decide what book will help you build your business the most. If that's too far back, then maybe it's how to actually get the book written so you can get it published. You want to go to the step before what you sell them, and you give them some information on that, but it also in there says, and the thing you really need to know is who you're going to publish with, because they'll have criteria for how you write. And so here's how you do that piece. You work with me and we let you know how to write this so that it gets the most visibility, etc. When you take a step back, what you're doing is entering into the conversation they're actually in at that moment, the problem that they're actually trying to solve, where your solution is the next step for them. Because if you try and solve the problem, so for instance, if you were selling how to become a speaker so that you can publicize your book, if you said the top 5 ways to get speaking engagements, they're going to go away and do that. They don't need to connect with you because they've now got that solution, right? But how to craft a book or a speech that sells the most books possible might be a step back from, we'll get you on the stages so that you can give that speech. Is that making sense, that the examples?
Yes, making a lot of sense. So in my case, for example, I have more of a holistic approach. So I help them write it, I help them publish it, and then I help them to create a brand that is consistent, that they will be showing up with around the world, and then help them to get speaking opportunities either at my events, and from there they actually get a lot more speaking opportunities at other people's events, some of them that have been, let's say, participating in my own events, and also PR opportunities to be featured in the media, in magazines, and from there also an overview of, okay, what kind of color should you be wearing, and what kind of style would work the best overall, because sometimes a small change in your look can translate into a significant impact in your confidence. So it's like a holistic way to kind of brand yourself. And and then I can
a big solution provider. Yeah, you help them with the whole journey. So what I would suggest then as a lead magnet prior to that is, rather than the steps on the journey, what you could provide them is a couple of things. One is how to have the courage to put your voice out there and to actually get published, seen, heard, and make the difference you're here to make. Because what might be stopping them is the courage and the willingness to think that they have something of value to offer. So that might be the first step to get them into motion. And then you talk about the whole journey and how you can hold their hand through the whole thing. The other thing might be a checklist of the authoring to from unknown to on the stage journey, and have that checklist so that they look at that and go, oh my God, that's a lot. I don't know how to do this and this and this and this and this. And at the end, of course, in your lead magnet, you say, this is a lot. And you may not know how to do a lot of this. That's where I come in and how I can help. I take you on this whole journey, help you with the things you don't know, and cheer you on the things that you do know. So it's really, what is the issue and the concern and the problem that they have that's stopping them from moving forward, stopping them from being able to buy whatever your solution is. What's that first thing that's stopping them? How do you clear that out of the way so they can then be free to move into working with you? That's why you want to back up and move that obstacle out of the way so that they're ready to move forward.
Thank you. So tell us about what is the next step. Once, let's say, they have downloaded that PDF, that ebook, or whatever it was, the webinar that you promised them, in order to start creating that relationship of adding extra value to their lives, is the next step where they are turning into paying customers.
Well, there's what I call kind of an intimacy ratio that you want to take people up the scale of. So basically what you want to do is enter into that first conversation. Just like if you were at a networking, you wouldn't have an hour-long conversation generally with most people. You have a bit of a conversation, get to know each other a bit, decide if you want to go to that next step. Same thing in this relationship. You would give them some value, give them some information, let them know what the next step, why it matters that they take that. So what is the benefit of it? The number one mistake that a lot of people make in all of their marketing is they talk about features, what they do, what it is, what the journey is, what the steps are, what the tools are that they use. No one cares about any of that. They care about what's the view from the top of the mountain once you get me there, and what's the benefit of me going on this journey with you. What's in it for me? So in your content, you need to be answering those questions. What are the benefits? What's in it for you to do this, to take these actions? What's the problem you're solving when they move into the next step? And what are the benefits of taking that next step with you? So that needs to be clearly articulated in whatever you do. And by the way, that can be in a one-page document. Speaking of which, people have short attention spans now. Don't give them a whole book. They won't read it. They'll put it on the shelf and forget it. I like to be very practical. I generally use the toilet criteria. If they can't consume it in one visit to the bathroom, it's probably too long. So it needs to be something that they could consume while they're on the toilet and get done in that period. So big, long webinars or master classes or trainings is too much initially. They don't know you. They don't know if it's worthwhile. They're not going to look. They're inundated. So give them something they can easily consume, and then invite them to the next step. Tell them why they need the next step, tell them what's in it for them to take it, and then clearly have a call to action. I cannot tell you, Lily, how many lead magnets I see that don't have any information about the person and don't have a call to action and don't have a clear, easy way to take that next step. They are putting all this effort out there and doing it without getting any response from it because they don't have a call to action. Likewise, when you have them sign up, so what you will do is put your lead magnet, your whatever it is, your gift, onto what's called an opt-in page. So it's a simple page that captures their name and their email address. If you ask for more information, like a phone number, a last name, etc., your registrations will go down. You'll get more information. So if you're going to use it, then it's worthwhile. If you're not going to use it, don't ask for it because you'll get less people opting in. Create a simple opt-in page. They download whatever it is. Immediate gratification is important. Don't make them wait for it. At very most, it should come immediately to them in an email in their inbox so that they can consume it right away. Make sure you have some follow-up communications that go to them that say, hey, did you read that? What do you think? Do you have questions? The next one would be, here's my community you can join, the next email. The next email might be, you know what? I bet you haven't implemented this. Let's have a conversation. Because clearly they were interested enough in solving that problem that they have a need. So follow up and encourage them to take those next steps with you. Make the next step clear and make it doable. So for instance, you might go from a little checklist to a webinar. You might go from an ebook, perhaps to a call with you, a clarity call or something like that, of value, of benefit related to that, not just pure sales call, actually give value. But often it's to the next step in their solution. So if you give them the first piece, so let's say, using your book example, it might be you give them a checklist on 10 tools for coming up with a great outline for a book. And then the next step might be a masterclass on the 5 writing tips for actually getting your book done during your busy day, because finding time to write is a big challenge for most people. And that might be just a half-hour little mini training. Then you invite them to a call. Let's say, and the call might be, let's talk about what's really getting in the way of you getting your book accomplished and out there in the world, that kind of thing. So there could be a progression. If you do go from that first lead magnet immediately into a connection with you, make sure that there is a clear benefit to it, and what they're going to get. You want to have value in that call, because if you just say, hey, come on a call with me, they're going to assume it's a sales pitch, and why would they say yes? Even if they want what you have. So make sure there's value at every step of the progression.
Thank you. Now, for example, I have 2 types of clients. I have clients that are already published authors, and I have clients that want to become a published author. Now, for those that are already published authors, they're looking for more PR, speaking, media opportunities. And I have a lot of those. And the problem with that is that now, let's say I have 20 opportunities right now, but imagine in a few days, I'm going to have 50. And then in a month's time, I'm going to have 100. And all of a sudden, it's like, all of these different opportunities, they are all different. Like some of them, where you need to contribute something, and others where you get paid, and so on. So I'm not sure now, for example, like how do I, tell everyone about this? Because I have thousands of people potentially interested that this could add a lot of value to. And like, how do you kind of manage having so many different, opportunities and offers for your ideal target market? Do you say, okay, you have these 20 opportunities or these 50 opportunities or these 2, I don't know. Or do you just say, okay, I'm just going to focus on one thing and that's all I'm going to offer, because otherwise I'm just going to overwhelm them and they'll get nothing?
Okay, there was a bunch of questions in there, so I'm going to answer several of them. So the first thing I would say is, first of all, congratulations on having many clients and that are at different stages and that have different needs. Even if someone's a client, that doesn't mean that you don't want to have a lead magnet that goes back to them. So for example, you may create lead magnets for your already published clients on special things that they need that bring them back into your orbit because they may have worked with you a year ago. So for instance, you might create a little ebook or a little training on how to do mass sales of your books versus one-offs, right? You might have something on how to, get your book into libraries around the world, that kind of thing, because those are things that published authors are looking for, specialty niche ways to get more books sold. For the unpublished authors, of course, then you're going to do things that are about moving them forward. So it's how to clarify, etc. When it comes to the opportunities, that sounds like a business model question or issue. One of the things, if you have ongoing access to opportunities, that I would probably suggest that you may already do, is to have a membership model where they get a certain number of leads every month, or they get a certain amount of time with you to work on things like their image or their keynote speech or their backer room sales, etc. And they get X number of leads per month, etc. So a mastermind or a membership community like that is one option. Second option is to go back to them and say, I currently have X number of leads. Here's this package that I'm offering, a coaching package of getting you on 20 stages this year. Are you interested? And sell it as a one-off offering or a service, something like that. One of the things that is really important that a lot of people don't think about is that customer journey. Where are they at? Where did they just come from? What do they need next? And how does what they need next fit in with what I have? And how do I package that in a way that they want to consume it? Because you're right. If they get inundated with a whole bunch of leads, they're not going to value it. They're going to be overwhelmed. They might follow up with 3 or 4, but they're not going to get the full value out of it. What they want is most speakers at that stage do want access to great leads on an ongoing basis. Well, many of them just want you to book them. They don't want to do the work. But so, that might be a premium service. But really thinking about where's the customer at? What is the problem they have now that they want to solve? And what's going to be their next problem that I can get a solution in place for them? So understanding, mapping out your customer journey, and then really important, verifying that with the customers. Because what we assume is not necessarily how they see it, think about it, feel about it. And it's really important that you've got their thinking in your language, in how you're approaching things, in the solutions you're creating.
Thank you. How do people go from, let's say, the lead magnet onto not necessarily the next call? Because I find that tends to be quite easy to do. Okay. The issue is, let's say you have 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, people on your email list, and you have like so many opportunities, and, they can't speak to everyone one-to-one, unless I guess you hire, 20 salespeople to speak to everyone that's interested. Right. So right. How do you cope with that? Do you do like webinars instead and to present a certain opportunity that you have for the week, month, or whatever it is?
Yep, there's 3 or 4 answers to that. A lot of it depends on your style, what you like to do in terms of how you like to get out into the world. Do you like to speak or not? Do you like to teach or not? Do you like to just write and stay behind the computer? Because you won't do, as much as people advocate other leveraging solutions, if it's not a fit for you, you won't do it. So don't buy those solutions, because you just won't implement them or be successful at them. Cookie cutters are meant for cookies, not for business models. So make sure you get something that fits your style first. Second is you want to make sure that you've got mastery in that thing, so that you're actually following through and being good at it, rather than a jack of all trades and a master of none. So if you want to use speaking, be a good speaker. If you want to use, coaching, be a good coach. Figure out how to do that. Lots of people have thrown up shingles and said they're coaches, and they're not. So be in integrity around the quality and the value you deliver. But I think that the key is, like you said, move them through the steps and the stages, understanding what those steps and stages are. But a next step could be an event where they get more one-to-one, well, not really one-to-one, there's one-to-many, but they get more of a sense of who you are. That could be a short 2-hour for 3 days event. It could be a full-blown 3-day event. It could be a 1-day coaching or workshop. So an event is one way. Speaking is another, to get in front of audiences and to gain credibility and authority, and have, again, a call to action that gets them on your list and in your orbit. Developing that relationship on an ongoing basis. And what I mean by that is, when I say relationship, I mean relationship. So like, it's someone I would call up to go to the movies, or I'd invite to my birthday party. People on my list, I'm not really in a relationship with them. I do try and serve them. In your emails, here's a general rule of thumb. That's 7-2-1. So 7 emails of value, content, something that contributes, that is not salesy, that is, you may seed things like, check out this podcast, my podcast episode on this topic, that kind of thing that gets them kind of cross-marketing, or go and look at my YouTube channel for this video on that topic. That's sales, but it's sales light, we'll call it. 2 that are personal, about you, about your life, who you are as a human being, and 1 that is direct sales. At a minimum, it should be 5-2-1. Okay, 5 value, 2 personal, 1 sales. That is optimal for people to really feel like they're engaging with you. What I don't recommend is what a lot of people do, and that is maybe 3 pitches or sales emails for every one that's of value. You'll get a lot of unsubscribes, and you'll get a lot of people just simply not opening your emails. You got to find where is the sweet spot for your conversations with your audience. And the way to do that is to test it and push it until you start getting a bunch of unsubscribes, and then you know you've gone too far. And so pull it back from there. So value, 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 but, and especially talking to the women out there, do not let relationships suck you into believing that you can never make an offer, and that you only provide value and eventually they'll see how wonderful you are and buy from you. No, no, no. The biggest service you can be is to sell whatever your solution is to help them get to that next stage. So being of service means you're selling.
Thank you. Tell us where entrepreneurs can find you.
Lots of places. Maturepreneur.world. So mature as in older and wiser, and preneur, half of entrepreneur. .world is a place to find some of the current offerings that I have. You can also reach me on LinkedIn, Janette Anderson, or Jeanette Susan Anderson. I forget which one. No, Jeanette Anderson. And on Facebook, Jeanette Susan Anderson, various different social medias. And I have a gift or a call to action for you. It is not an opt-in. It is not a lead magnet. It is me offering to help you with your lead magnet. So this is very practical. If you have a lead magnet and you want feedback on it, so I can help you with titles or value or whatever and give you feedback, book a call. Or if you don't know what kind of lead magnet you should be creating, book a call and I'll help you figure out what is that one step back solution that you can create that would be of value for people. So book a call to talk to me about feedback on your lead magnet or what lead magnet you should be creating. I'd be happy to help you with that. And there's a link in the show notes here that you can do that with.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential, so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.